Well, thank you, and good afternoon, and I guess good morning to some. We're going to go ahead and start talking about mock. I'm going to give a brief overview of what mock is and how we are utilizing it in the state of Iowa. If we can go ahead and go to the next slide. So what is MOC? MOC it stands for Mobile Architecture for Communications Handling. It is a central communications hub that features CAD, computer-aided dispatching, AVL, automatic vehicle location, mobile dispatching, user-to-user messaging, cross-agency collaboration for first responders, and in-car mapping. We have a lot of capabilities within MOC that we are going to kind of skim over here on a future slide. But the big things that we want to cover today are the capabilities to utilize MOC to communicate between our state radio dispatch centers, local dispatch centers, and our traffic management center, and how we are utilizing those capabilities in Iowa. Right now, MOC is currently being used in 5 separate states. Licenses or sub-licenses of MOC are available from the Iowa DOT. Currently, we have Nebraska, Iowa, Illinois, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania, and a few deployments in the state of Florida as well. So we're talking about as we go along. Next slide. So some of the capabilities within MOC are AVL mapping. Basically anywhere MOC is installed in the vehicle, at the police station, in the communications center. We've even gone so far as to install MOC in our National Weather Service so that they can participate in its use. MOC is a full enterprise level CAD module that is currently in use by our state radio dispatch centers. And we're going to talk about how we send data from MOC over to our traffic management center. MOC also has messaging, car-to-car, instant messages between users. We can open up chat groups that allow multiple users in to share information and communicate. And then we can also send out alerts, broadcasts, and incident alerts statewide as well. We do have a state switch interface for our officers that allows them to run NCIC queries, NLETS queries, hot files, DL photos are all available in the cars for our law enforcement folks. And then we also have lots of interfaces. One of the newer interfaces is the ability to interface with Esri map services so that we can pull a lot of data into MOC and display that data as a map layer, which has been really invaluable here recently with some of our tornado incidents, and most recently within the last 3 or 4 days, flooding response in the northwest part of our state. So MOC is again proving its value for our state. So what we have here is just a screenshot of what MOC would look like, whether it be in a dispatch center, whether it be in a patrol car, or even in an ambulance service. Every one of those blue icons that's on the map is some type of law enforcement vehicle that is out there. We are currently updating AVL locations every 25 seconds. So every 25 seconds, we are receiving new coordinates from all the users that are out there. Next slide. I mentioned the chats. This is an example of the chats. This is actually an example of the chat sessions that are being utilized between our traffic management center and state radio dispatch centers. Every morning, basically at the beginning of every shift, our state radio dispatchers are generating chat sessions between our traffic management center so that they can share information and eliminate the phone calls, the emails, and some of the kind of things that kind of clogged up the process in the past. They can utilize these chat sessions to communicate and eliminate those other communications methods. Next slide. I mentioned a little bit ago some of the interfaces. This one is new within the last 3 months. It is actually in use in the state of Illinois. Illinois has partnered with us to develop an interface between MOC and Waze. So every time certain calls for service are generated within the MOC CAD, that data is automatically sent over to Waze, which is then displayed on the Waze map. Again, great for sharing information, not only with their partners over there, but with the motoring public. Hopefully, the intent is to get motoring public to slow down, move over, and avoid those officers that are performing activities on the roadside, whether it be a crash, whether it be a simple traffic stop. This is an attempt to try to notify motoring public that, hey, there's law enforcement ahead. Please watch out so that we're not getting hit on the roadside. Next slide. This is just a screenshot of the CAD. This is again, this is our data capture for incidents that are being called into our state radio dispatch centers. This is just one small piece of the computer-aided dispatching. It's basically a grid of active calls for service, and it is showing us what's currently going on there. The information that is populated into CAD is then being shipped over to our traffic management center via an XML feed, and they can then ingest that into our traffic management center. So right now we are only sending certain call for service types over to the traffic management center. It's generally something that's going to impact the roadway. So it has to be a crash or debris in the roadway, or maybe a motorist assist that is being shipped over to our TMC. When the call for service is closed, we send an update over and let the TMC know that that particular incident has been ended and is no longer impacting the roadway. Next slide. So this is just an example of the type of information we are sending over to the TMC. You'll notice that there is no PII. There's no unique identifiers for any individuals or vehicles that are a part of that call for service. That's again to ensure the privacy of anybody involved in an incident within the computer-aided dispatching. So these are the data fields that are being sent over to our TMC, which is then ingested into their applications within the TMC. Next slide. With that, that's how we're capturing the data within Mock. That's how we're utilizing Mock on the Mock side. I'm going to turn it over to our TMC program manager, Ashley Hochberger, so that she can talk about how they're using Mock in the TMC and also how they're utilizing the data that we are sending over to them. So, thank you.
Thank you, Josh. So I just wanted to go over a couple of things that Josh had said. Circling back to the group chat, that's what the TMC, the operators, are utilizing day in and day out. And we are utilizing that with the state radios, but that actually has been able to be expanded to some other agencies as well. Dubuque County is one, for example. They're in the eastern part of the state. They were actually emailing things into the TMC, which is not the most efficient way to get those issues addressed. And so we worked with them, and now we can do the mock chat sessions with Dubuque County, some smaller agencies. So it's really about efficiency and getting the roadway open, and that's what we're wanting to do. So the chat feature is really what the operators utilize and absolutely love. Now we're looking at the CAD integration here. So this is the dashboard that you can see the operators. This is what they use during their shift. So if they get an alert from the CAD, then this is what it would look like. So you can see here, for example, if there is a stalled vehicle on the shoulder, the alert would come in for the operator. And then they could go in with the cameras if there's one in the area and try and verify that incident. So if you go to the next slide, I think we can see that what it would look like. So this is, so they would have the location, they could try and locate that incident on the cameras, and then they could verify if it was there, or they could also let the law enforcement know it's already cleared. So if there's a vehicle on the roadway and they're cleared, then they wouldn't have to send a trooper, or if we're looking at our safety service patrol, then we would need to send a highway helper. So really we're just trying to alleviate the workload that we can. So if we don't need to send a trooper, if it's something our safety service patrol can do, then that helps out that trooper, and then it frees them up for something maybe more higher priority. And then the highway helper can go out there, because again, our goal, just like everyone else, is to get that roadway open, about quick clearance. And this is one way that we can proactively do that. So like I said, they can go on with the cameras, and then also maybe it's a way for them to relay to dispatch any information that needs updated. If they said the right shoulder or eastbound, maybe it was the left shoulder, or if it was westbound, or the CAD alert came in and there was a lot of unknowns, and the TMC can go on maybe on the cameras and say, it's 3 vehicles, maybe somebody's out of their vehicle. So that way that information can then get fed right back to law enforcement. Do they need to expedite their response? Really getting an assessment of what the scene looks like. So we have worked, as Josh said, with the Department of Public Safety in connection with them to make this successful. And so far, it really has been. And next slide. So this is what it looks like if we wanted to get an overview, if we're wondering, okay, what types of incidents are we getting fed through that dashboard, through the CAD alert. You can see on here, if you're looking, most of it is going to be that motorist assist. So that's something that we could send highway helper for. So again, we were maybe not needing that trooper. They can stay free to respond to other more high priority things. And then the next thing, you're going to have the property damage accident. So again, we're able to relay to the dispatch center that updated information, what types of vehicles are involved, how many vehicles. And so we're just utilizing. So if we want to look at this, we can break it down to what types of incidents, and we can see how many were confirmed. So by confirmed, it means the TMC was able to go on there via camera and say that that incident was actually there. Or confirmed could also mean maybe the highway helper went out there and was able to say, yes, there is a vehicle on the shoulder or debris in the roadway. Unconfirmed just means that it simply wasn't able to be located. So we didn't have it, have cameras in there, or that nobody could find it, and then denied if we're looking at it was no longer there. So this is the type of information that we're able to capture. And like Josh said, we're not getting any information, any of that PII. We did work with DPS to make sure that what the TMC operators are seeing is what they're comfortable with. So if you're looking at exploring this, I would highly encourage you to work with your partners up front on that to make sure that everybody is comfortable with what's being fed to the TMC.